In this video, we're going to solve some problems related to the perimeter and the area of parallelograms. Please do these questions in your exercise book now. Pause the video while you do that. Press play once you're ready. You should have now done these three questions. I'm going to go through them one by one to make sure that you know how to do simple problems finding areas and perimeters of parallelograms. So here's the first question. To find the area of this parallelogram, you should have done base times height, which for this parallelogram is 11 times 5, which is 55. We don't know if the measurements are in centimeters or millimeters, so I'm just going to write 55 units. Please mark your question and then move on. Find the perimeter of this parallelogram. So the perimeter is, well, what is perimeter? So say your answer to the video, perimeter is, you should have said perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So let's do that again. Perimeter is, okay, so let's go around the 2D shape. Let's start here. If we go around one by one, we have 3.5 plus 5, and we have another 3.5 and another 5. So to go all the way around the shape, we have 3.5 plus 5, which is 8.5, and then we do it again. We then have another 3.5 and another 5. So we do 8.5 times 2. What is 8.5 times 2? Work it out and say your answer to the video. You should have said 17. Again, we don't know if it's centimeters, millimeters, or whatever, so we're just going to call it units. Going back, if the perimeter of the parallelogram below is 30 centimeters, find A. So here, I know that the perimeter is 30. Now the perimeter is, you should have said the perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So that includes these two sides. What's the total of those two sides? Say your answer to the video now. So those two sides add up to 22, which means we then have these two sides, this one and this one. So what must they add up to if the overall perimeter is 30? Say your answer to the video now. Those two sides must add up to 8 centimeters because the perimeter minus the sides that we know gives 8 centimeters. Now, how many green sides are there? Say your answer to the video. There are 2. There is this one here and this one here, and they're equal in length. So you've got 2 equal sides which add up to 8 centimeters. So what must each of those sides be? Say your answer to the video now. Each of those 2 sides must be 8 divided by 2, which is 4 centimeters. We can then quickly check we've done it right by following the rule that perimeter is. So perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So let's check. So if we do 2 of the sides, let's do this one and this one. Let's add those together. That's 11 plus 4, which is what? 15. And then we have the same thing again. We have this side and this side. So that's going to be another lot of 15. So 15 times 2 is 30, which is the perimeter. So we've done it right. Now we're going to do some harder problems. So this is the first one. Pause the video to read it. Press play once you've read it. So you should have now read this question. So what we're told is that the area is 50 centimeters squared. And we know this length here, which is base. We also know this side over here. But that's not going to help us with the first part of this problem. The first part of this problem, we're just trying to find this missing length here. Now, what we know is that the area of a parallelogram is the base times the height. So we know that the base times the height is 50. Now, in this problem, we know the base. We know that the base is 5. It's the height that we don't know. This is the height, and we don't know the height. So the base, which we know is 5, times the height, which we don't know, so I'm just going to call that h, equals 50. So we have 5 times h equals 50. So what must h be if 5 times h is 50? 5 times what is 50? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 5 times 10 is 50. So that means h is 10. That's actually 50 over 5, which is 10. So I've done it algebraically. You don't need to do it algebraically. You can just say, well, base times height is 50, so 5 times something is 50. The something must be 10. Now that's the missing length. So I now know that this missing length here is 10 centimeters. The next thing I need to do is find the perimeter. Now the perimeter has nothing to do with the missing length. The perimeter is, you should have said the perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So let's quickly work that out. So I know that the two sides I've highlighted in yellow are 5 and 13, which adds up to 18. And then I know that I have another 5 and another 13. So I add the other 5 and the other 13, so that's another 18. So that's 18 times 2, which is 36. So the perimeter is 36. Now, the reason why people might get caught out here is they might think the perimeter has something to do with that 10 centimeter height that they worked out, but it's not. The perimeter is the distance around the 2D shape. It's nothing to do with that height. That height is important if you want to work out the area of the parallelogram. To work out the perimeter, you just go round the shape, adding together the sides. Let's do a similar example together. Pause the video to read this question. You can have a go as well. Press play once you're done. You should have now read this question. You may have had a go at it as well. So we're trying to find the missing length on the perimeter, and we know that the area is 20 centimeters squared. So we can use that area to find this missing length here. What do you think that missing length is there if the area is 20 and the height is 4? The area is 20 centimeters squared. The height is 4 centimeters. So what do you think this here is? This is the base. What do you think the base is? Say your answer to the video now. Well, the formula is that base times height equals area. So the base, which we don't know, times the height, which we do know, which is 4, equals the area, which is 20. So I'm saying that my base, I don't know, but I know the height is 4. And if you do the base times 4, it should be 20. So my question to you is, if something times 4 is 20, what is that something? Say your answer to the video now. Well, the missing thing must be 5. 20 over 4, which is 5, because 5 times 4 is 20. So what I've done is I've found what number, when you multiply it by 4, makes 20. When you multiply this side here, by this height here, that should give you 20. So 4 times 5 is 20, so the base is 5. We also need to find the perimeter, and we can now do that because we now know what the base is. So let's start by adding these two sides together. What's the sum of those two sides that I've highlighted in yellow? Say your answer to the video now. The sum of those two sides that I've highlighted in yellow, sum means add together. So the sum of those two sides is 5 plus 5, because the base is 5 and the slanted side is 5. That makes 10. And then I have another two sides the same. So that's also 5 and that's also 5. So what do I do to this 10 to find the perimeter? Say your answer to the video now. So I double that 10 to add those other two sides. So altogether that makes 20. And what are the units of perimeter? You should have said centimeters. So the perimeter is 20 centimeters. You could have also done 5 times 4, because if you notice, all the sides are actually the same length here. What is a parallelogram where all the sides are the same called? Say your answer to the video if you know it. So a parallelogram where all the sides are the same length is actually called a rhombus. So a rhombus is a special type of parallelogram where all the sides are the same length, just like a square is a special type of rectangle where all the sides are the same length. Now you're going to do an example completely by yourself. Pause the video and do this question. Press play once you're ready. You should have now done this question, so I'm quickly going to review it so you can mark your work. So we're told that the area is 44 millimeters squared. That means the base times the height must be 44. So base times height equals area. Base is this number here, 11. The height is this thing here, which I don't know. So my base 11 times my height, h equals 44. 11 times something is 44, so that something must be 4, because 11 times 4 is 44. Notice that the units here were millimeters squared, so my height should actually be millimeters. If you wrote centimeters, please correct it and put millimeters. Now that I know that missing length, I'm going to work out the perimeter, although I don't actually need h to work out the perimeter, because perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So I do that side plus that side. That adds up to 17. And then I add the other two sides as well, this side and this side. So that's going to be another 17. So 17 times 2 is 34 millimeters. So the height of the parallelogram, the missing length, is 4 millimeters. And the perimeter, the distance around the 2D shape, is 34 millimeters. We're now going to move to a problem which uses what we've just done. So pause the video to read it and press play once you're ready. So I'm going to do this question fully by myself. So I've been given the perimeter and I've been given the area, and I need to find the lengths A and B. So I don't know A or B, so I don't know the base or the height, so I can't work with the area yet. So I'm going to start with the perimeter. I can use the perimeter that I've been given to work out A, because I know that the distance around the 2D shape needs to add up to 22. This side here is A, this side here is 5, this side here must also be A, and this side here must also be 5. So I know that if I add all of those together, it should make 22. So let's start with the sides I know. I know that 5 plus 5 is 10. So I know that I've already got 10 if I add together those two sides. The total perimeter is 22. So I'm going to minus what I know from the total perimeter, so I'm left with 12, which means these two sides, the two A's, must add up to 12, which means each A must be 12 over 2, which is 6 centimeters. Now I can also do that completely algebraically. So if I add together all four sides, that's going to be 10 plus 2A, which is 22. Then I minus the 10, so 2A is 22 minus 10. So 2A equals 12. And then A will be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So both of those are identical. It's just the one on the right is proper algebra, whereas the one on the left is just using our understanding and common sense. Both are fine. Now that we've worked out that A is 6 centimeters, we can work out B, because we're told the area is 18. So base times height equals area. I'm not writing B this time because, confusingly, B on the diagram is actually the height here. So that is a little bit confusing. So I'm going to write it clearly. Base times height equals area. The base I've just worked out, which is A, is 6. The height, what I don't know, is B. I'm just going to write that as B. And that equals the area, which is 18. So 6 times something is 18. What must the something be? Say your answer to the video now. Well, 6 times 3 is 18, so that means B must be 3. There we go. So I worked out A by using the perimeter, and I worked out B by using the area. So I had to do that methodically, doing one and then the other. We're now going to do a similar example together. Pause the video to read the question, press play once you're ready. So we're going to do this example together. So we're going to start by working out K. Which piece of information are we going to use to work out K? Are we going to use the area, or are we going to use the perimeter? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said that we're going to work out the perimeter. So I'd like you to try and work out K using the perimeter. Pause the video while you do that. Press play once you're ready. So the first thing you should have done is known that these two sides both have what length? Say your answer to the video. Those two sides both have a length of 8. What is the total of those two sides? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 16. Now, if those two sides add up to 16 and the perimeter is 32, what must the other two sides add up to? Say your answer to the video now. Well, if the two sides that we know add up to 16 and the perimeter is 32, then the sides that we're left with must be 32 minus 16, which is 16. So those two sides, the one at the top and the one at the bottom, this one and this one, must add up to 16. So what must each of those two sides be then? Say your answer to the video now. Each of those two sides should be 16 over 2, which is 8. So K is 8. So interestingly, all four sides actually have the same length here. So what is this shape called? It's a special type of parallelogram. What's it called? Say your answer to the video now. It's called a rhombus. So a rhombus is a parallelogram where all four sides have the same length. Okay, now that we've worked out K, we can work out L. So which piece of information are we going to use to work out L? This is L over here. Say your answer to the video now. We're going to use the fact that the area is 56 centimeters squared. So using the fact that the area is 56 centimeters squared and the fact that K is 8 centimeters, work out what L is. Pause the video while you do that. Press play once you're ready. So you should have remembered that the area of a parallelogram is the base of the parallelogram times the height. The area of this parallelogram is what? Say your answer to the video. The area of this parallelogram is 56. What's the base of this parallelogram that we just worked out? Say your answer to the video. Base of this parallelogram is 8. The height we don't know, so I'm just going to write L. So if 56 equals 8 times L, what must L be? So 8 times what is 56? Say your answer to the video now. 8 times 7 is 56, so L must be 7, and I'm writing centimeters. So there we go. I used the perimeter to work out what K was, and once I had K, I used the area to find what L was. You're now going to do some problems completely by yourself. Pause the video to do these 3 problems. Press play once you're done. You should have now done all 3 of these problems. Here are the solutions. Pause the video to mark your work. Press play once you're done. You should have now marked your work. If you got all 3 of these questions correct, well done. Please like the video and subscribe to get more videos on Key Stage 3 Maths, and you can finish the video there. If you got any of them wrong, please stay on the video to watch me go through each one. So I'm now going to go through question 1. So I'm given that the perimeter is 18. So I know that these two sides together add up to 10. So the other two sides must be the perimeter minus the 10, which is 8. So the other two sides must add up to 8. Which means this side and this side together must make 8, so that each of them must be 4. So that means D is 4. So what I did there is I said that I knew that 2 of the sides added up to 10. And I knew that the whole perimeter was 18. So if 2 of the sides add up to 10 and the whole perimeter is 18, the difference is 8. So the other 2 sides must add up to 8. So these 2 sides in red must add up to 8. So there's 2 sides that add up to 8, they're the same length, so each one must be 4. And then now that I know that that is 4 centimeters, and I know that the base times the height must be the area, so I know that 4 times the height, which is this, which is C, is the area, so I know 4 times C is 16, because the area is 16. 4 times what is 16? Say your answer to the video. You should have said 4 times 4 is 16, and that's why C is 4 as well. If you got questions 2 and 3 wrong, pause the video to try them again. Try and get the answers which I've put. If you can get the answers that I've put, you know how to do it now. Otherwise, watch me go through questions 2 and 3. So pause the video to have another go. Press play once you're ready. If you managed to get my solutions, well done. You can like and subscribe and end the video there. Otherwise, let me go through the last 2 questions so you can see me go through them. So I'm going to use firstly the perimeter, which is 30 centimeters. I know that this side and this side together add up to 10. So if those two sides together add up to 10, what must the other two sides together add up to? Say your answer to the video now. The other two sides must add up to 20 because the perimeter is 30. The two sides that I know add up to 10, so that's a leftover of 20. So if those two sides together add up to 20, what must each of those sides be? Say your answer to the video. Each of those sides should be half of 20, which is 10. So that's why F is 10. Now for the area, I know that the base times the height must be the area. So the base is 5, and the height I don't know, it's E. So 5 times E is the area, which is 45. What must E be? 5 times what is 45? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said that 5 times 9 is 45, which is why E is 9 centimeters. Let's just go through the last example now. So I'm told that the perimeter is 34. I know these two sides. What are those two sides added together? Say your answer to the video. So those two sides added together make 16. So let's do the perimeter minus the sides that we know. So 34 minus 16 leaves us with 18. That 18 is these two other sides, this one and this one. So those two red sides must add up to 18. So each of those red sides must be what? Say your answer to the video now. Each of those red sides is half of 18, which is 9 millimeters here, because my perimeter was given in millimeters and my area in millimeters squared. So I've used the perimeter to find K. So K is 9. Now I can use that to find L. So I know that the base times the height must be the area. So 9 times L must be the area. So what must L be? 9 times what is 63? Say your answer to the video. 9 times 7 is 63, so L is 7. If you found any of those examples difficult and you didn't quite understand them, rewind, watch the video again, any part of it that's helpful, watch the whole thing again if you want, watch any individual examples again, and once you're feeling confident, please like and subscribe, and you can get more videos on Key Stage 3 Maths.